You're tuned to Russ McClellan and Friends on the Real Estate Show Home Sweet Home. Let's get back to Russ.
Hey, welcome back to Home Sweet Home with Russ McClellan. Thanks for tuning in. Hey, it's June 2021. I got Lisa and Brian Boyle. We're talking about some crazy business strategies like answer your phone. Strange. Weird how that works. You know, you said something off air that, Lisa, when your phone rings, sometimes because you guys are doing this an incredible amount of business, and off air we're just talking about how it's not really in your mind. It's not really a secret. There's no magic potion, but at times your phone will ring and you'll look at it and you're like, I don't really feel like working right now. I don't really feel like taking another call. But what do?
I force myself and I answer it anyways, and it is putting aside the natural procrastination that we as humans will always have and dealing with it now and not later. Because one thing I learned with real estate, it is so fast paced that if you try to deal with everything later, it accumulates and you'll never catch up and you will start sliding and you will not be your best. So I put on a brave face and a happy voice, whether it's somebody I want to speak with or not, whether I feel like working or not, and I plow through it and I feel better about it, which drives me to do better on my next business adventure as well.
Yeah, they say procrastination, the cost of procrastination is the life you could have had. Yep. Right? I mean, yeah. and that's it is funny, but, you know, back to your coaching with Fletcher, and the reason I'm coaching with Fletcher, too, is that we all have different levels of confidence in certain areas at certain times. And if you just develop the mindset that you're always going to grow, you're always going to learn, and try to start to not having to reinvent the wheel, but maybe start building the businesses on the shoulders of giants that have walked and are walking before you. So one of the things that I talk about a lot is that I made a lot of mistakes being addicted to new business and not following up. They call it the FU of real estate for a reason. Follow up. If you spend some time talking to your past clients, it makes all the difference in the world. And you guys in your third year, it's the perfect time to really start leaning into that model, right? Because as you lean into leverage, that's the component that's coming next for you guys. You have leads, you have listings, and you have leverage. Those are the three big building blocks of a business that is sustainable. And that's fun because what most people don't realize is when you start beating your head up against that, what we call ceiling of achievement, and you're like closing a certain amount of deals, and then you kind of have a lull, and then you close a certain amount of deals, and you have a low. You got to be careful because if you just keep pressing the gas pedal without leverage, you're human, so you'll burn out. You need to also, what you're doing, you're such a good role model for other people. You're leaning into the humility of getting mental coaching, mindset coaching. I am such a believer, guys, and tell me if you think I'm just full of it, which sometimes I am. But I believe that we have training backwards. I'm really been kicking this idea around for a while, and I haven't really talked about it too much. But I believe for 30, 40 years, real estate brokerages have been teaching people completely backwards. We say go lead generate. Go call for 3 hours a day. Go door knock for 3 hours a day. Go call expireds, FSBOs, bam, bam. Well, what we don't realize, we make this arrogant assumption that everybody's going to have this perfect self-esteem, this perfect ability to deal with rejection 95% of the time. And so what happens is people will start doing that. They'll start calling and be like, no, F you, no. Don't call me again, you ass. And they're like, after about the 10th call, they're like, this sucks. But what they don't realize is that 5 times out of 100 that they're successful, they're now making $75,000 a year, and they were making $15 an hour.
Yep.
And they can go to their kids' game at 2, right? Like all of a sudden, you have freedom. Not that it's easy, but real estate, to your point earlier, it's simple. It's a simple business of relationships and trust, right? And so now that you're getting Fletcher Ellingson type coaching, and there's a lot of coaches, but Fletcher happens to be world-class and happens to be here. So we're going to be launching into a series, right, of doing that in the office about once a quarter next month, like I mentioned. And to me, if we would put mental mindset coaching in front of tactics and strategies versus tactics and strategies in front of mindset coaching, I think we would get more conversion. I think people would feel better about themselves, because how often have you known someone that beats themselves up? Maybe I do it to myself. Maybe you do it to yourself. But other people look at you and go, well, man, you got it all together. Right? You're killing it. But in your head, you're like something's going down that nobody else can see. So would you guys say that Fletcher and that, is that the first time you guys have done some of that kind of stuff, or have you had that kind of training before?
I have never personally had that type of training before. And yes, Fletcher has opened up a lot of doors I didn't realize were closed with me. And I'm the first to admit that I'm a sensitive person. I'm emotional. I appear to play the game well, but I take a lot of things to heart and let them get to me and dwell on things, as where Fletcher is opening my mindset and allowing me to see things from a different angle. And I firmly believe that my business is just going to be unstoppable if I adapt and listen and learn to what he is teaching me. And that's something that I want to share with other people.
Yeah, and I think that's such a good thing. I mean, Brian, would you say that anybody can do real estate if they have just some basics, right? Would you say that it's not like you have to go be an MD or, to be a lawyer and pass the bar exam? I mean,
yeah, absolutely. I think anybody could.
Do you know people right now? Let me ask you this: do you know people right now that you grew up with or that are in another industry that are unhappy? And that you think if somehow they could make that call to one of us to talk it through, could do real estate and change their lives?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, without a doubt.
So what do you think it is, Brian, that stops people?
It's fear.
Fear.
It's all fear.
Yeah, Fletcher talks about this too, right? There's a certain human condition for the need for certainty.
Yep.
Yeah, and we wake up and we'll suffer through the mundane mediocrity of our life forever. And that fear, which is an acronym for false evidence appearing real. And what that really means is, like, in our head, it's real, right? Like it's a legit thing. So it's not to diminish what you're feeling. It's like, that's one of the first things that mindset coaching is all about in real estate, specifically because we often think that we've done something wrong. That I'm unusual. I can't be Lisa and Brian. I can't be Luke and Sydney. I can't be whoever, right? This compare and contrast game that we often play. But in a lot of cases, not in yours, but in a lot of cases, it's BS, right? What we're seeing on social media is the perfect version of the human being. They have the best looking spouse. They have the best car. They have whatever they want to portray. That they're not going to put all their dirty laundry out there, like, this in my life is, I'm struggling there, and this sucks, and I want to beat my, I'm going to pound my head against the pavement. But we're all human, right? And so I think saying that it's okay and it's not your fault that you're feeling that way. There's nothing that anybody has done wrong. What my goal is, and I say it all the time, is to change lives, right? I want those people that are feeling the financial pressure or the pressure of depression from, like, their life's just stuck, whether it's in a relationship, whether it's in a job. I think real estate, like you said, Brian, I think real estate can change lives for people. And to me, after 30 years, there's nothing more powerful than helping someone change their life. I just gave a eulogy at my dad's funeral not that long ago. He died a year ago, but we just finally had it. And I talked a lot about how I thought he was one of the most powerful men in the world to me and to many other people. He was an adopted father and grandfather to many kids. And I worked with him for 30 years and daily, right? And the one thing that he had two things. He always answered his phone, like he always would do the job. He would always show up. And his word, like you said, I think you said off air, Brian, your word is your bond. Like, to him, that was the key. If you say you're going to do something, like, say what you mean what you say, and then have this incredible selflessness. Like, people don't realize that if you lead with abundant mindset, meaning that there's enough deals for everybody, versus a scarcity mindset where it's me, and I'm going to take 80% of that and 70% of that, and so the pie's only X many pieces. Once you get that through your head, the doors that open up are just naturally opened, because now you're caring about people, not the almighty dollar, right? And it took me a long time in my career to get there. Like I was keeping score with cars and trucks and boats and houses and not people so much. And then when I went through a very serious, broke in the recession, and then I had to really do some self-evaluating, I realized that what I was missing, because when I had millions of dollars, I was miserable. And I was missing the component of helping other people, right? And I think once you realize that KW is about that, powerful things can happen. So you guys you're not afraid to tell somebody, right? You're not afraid for them to call you?
No. And I know I might not be saying this correctly, but one of my favorite quotes is, I will not compare myself to you, and don't compare yourself to me. I'm not in competition with you. I want you to win too.
Yeah, exactly. Abundant mindset. Yeah, well, I appreciate you guys. So you want real answers? All you got to do is ask real questions. And I'm going to give you a number so you can talk to Lisa and Brian, who are in the top literally 2% in the industry right now. Congratulations, guys.
Thank you.
The number is 509-679-4888. That's 509-679-4888. Lisa Boyle at kw.com. Thanks for coming by. Go out there and help more people. Have a good time. Stay balanced. Enjoy life. And I am very grateful that you're a business partner with me.
Grateful to be here. Thank you.
All right. We're right back with Michael Maher and PrimeLending.
Keller Williams.